Welcome back in another video of our tutorial about creating a website with my custom CMS and page builder. So in the last video we implemented the portfolio component. So now in this video we're gonna try to implement this blog component. We're gonna take the same approach. We're gonna declare a model in our CMS which is going to be a blog model, and we're gonna try to implement this model with our page builder to obtain data of our models from our CMS. But we're gonna learn a new thing here. We're gonna learn something called dynamic pages. So what I mean by dynamic pages in this case, so in my implementation I want each blog item to have a page in my website. So as we know in blogs, so each blog in a website must have its own page that's containing the blog content. So in this case, our CMS provides for us a solution for that. So it gives us the ability to associate each model instance with a page that we can edit it with the page builder. So that's what we're going to try. That's what we're gonna try to do in this tutorial video. So let me open the CMS first. I think for 3000. Okay. Oh no, it's 3000. Okay, now let's access the page builder. Okay, but let's first fix this error. It's telling us that cannot read properties from undefined reading class name. So basically this element right here is not defined, and we're trying to apply this function on it. So basically what we're going to do, or let's see first why this problem is happening. So I think the use effect sometimes works before all the elements are rendered. So for that, this line right here cannot find the target element, so that causes a problem. So to fix that, we can go back to our section, portfolio section, and we're going to do something to fix this problem. First we're gonna make a variable, let's call it element, and it's going to store this element right here, and we're going to do if statement to check if this element is defined. Then if it's defined, we're gonna apply this function on it. Now let's save and check if the error is still happening. Can't find. All right, so basically we have to do another test, which is testing if the element is instance of HTML element, and we're gonna access the 0 index because jQuery always store the documents in the first index. Let's refresh the page and check another time, and now the error is not happening, and the portfolio is still working as expected. Great. Now let's go back to our subject, which is implementing this component. So as I said, the first thing we're going to do is declaring a model of blogs. So let's create a new model file in the models folder. Let's call it blog.model.js. I already have a template in here. We're gonna use the same template as here. So let's call it blogs, and for each blog I think we need an image, a title, the date of creation, and the category. Okay, so yeah, that's what we need. So we have the title right here, we have the category, not categories. Okay, date of creation, string field. So there's a special type for dates, which is date, type of date, and image. So I think we finished here. We have all the properties we need for previewing I'm gonna preview the title and the image, and for the tables let's add the data as well. Great. So the next thing I would do here is declaring a new property called pages. So this property will enable the dynamic pages creation in this block. So every time we create a block, the CMS will create and associate a page to it. So the first prop we have to declare is the link. So basically this is the links we're going to access a specific block. So basically it will be /blog/ the slug of the block, so like this. But in this case we're going just to put the root link of our blocks. The next thing we're going to specify is the domain, and for this domain we have to specify which domain this page will be created for. So if you remember, in the first video we created a domain before start implementing our website. So basically we need this name, the name of the domain. In my case it's called mine domain. And finally we need a template. So a template, so we have to create a template first. So basically the template define the default components that this page will have when we create it. So we're gonna learn about it later, but for now let's specify a template called blog, and also we need to create a new template file in the templates folder. Let's call it the same name we name it here. So we're gonna call it blog.template.js. So the .template.js extension is required. So basically here we're gonna export module.exports. We're gonna export an array. So this array is representing the component that this page will have when we create a new page. So the default component. We have also forgive me. We're gonna export a function, and the function must return the default components. In this case, we're gonna stick to empty array. We have also an index.template.js. So this is basically this template file representing the default components that a page will have when we create a brand new page. In our case, it's an empty array. So every page we're gonna create is going to have it's going to have no components at all. So great. So going back to our block model, so we specified our properties, we implemented the pages properties. So this model will be a dynamic model. Each block instance will have an associated page in the CMS. So now let's do a migration. So let's run npm run migrate dev. So the migration is done. Let's check our CMS. And as you see, we have a blocks model added here. So let's create a new block. So as you see, there is a main difference between the portfolio model and the blocks model. Okay, let's ignore that. I don't know why it happened. Yeah, it's sort of glitch. Don't give it your attention. So if you remember, when we adding a new portfolio, this is the panel we have. But when we try to add a new block, we have a little bit different panel. It's containing more stuff, and the stuff is this panel right here. So it's asking us for a slug and the title and a description. So basically the slugs is the link of the page that will be created with this block. So it's needs to be unique for each blog item, and here the title of the created page, and here we have the properties we defined in the properties in the model. Okay, great. So in order to create a new block, we have to specify its slug. Let's call it a test. Let's give it a title from our template. This is the title. This is the title. The same title it's going to be for the page. We don't have to fill the description. For the date, I have an input of type date. Let's do anything like this. and the category, let's do a graphic category and an image. Great. Now we can save our blog, we can publish it, and we have an extra button here. The extra button will open a new panel, a new tab, and it's going to give us a new page to edit. All right, and if you see here, the page I'm editing is not the home page as the other one. All right, but I'm editing this blog page, which has this URL, localhost 2000/en. The /en refers to the local, which is English in this case, /blogs/test, which is the slug we specified in here. So basically here we're specifying the URL of this blog. Okay, great. Now, after we created our blog successfully, all right, I think I have a problem in here. Yes, I have a problem. Yeah, so the problem was this category. So here I have categories, but here I have categories, so I messed up the name. So make sure always the same properties you have here are the same you have here. All right, great. Now let's do another migration. Now after the migration done, let's check if we have the same problem. So now, yeah, the problem is solved. So always make sure you have the same properties here. So great. Now after we declared our model, we're gonna specify the JSX components as always, or declare our components in the sections folder. So let's go to our section folder, create a new file, call it blocks.tsx, and now let's start with the interface. Great. So for our template, we have a title and a list of blocks. Very simple. So title wc string, and before specifying the portfolios, the blocks, we go in to do the same thing we did with the portfolio. We're going to create an interface to describe a blog. So interface blog. So the blog, as I remember, it has title, image, category, and date. Title string, category also a string, image would be a builder media, and a date will be also a string. Great. And here we're going to specify the blocks, which is going to be a WC list of block. Great. Now we're going to declare the props. So the title will be a string field, the default will be my block. The blocks will be a list field of a model field which pointing to our model, which is the blocks model. Blocks, the same name we declared in here. Now we have to specify the query. So the query representing the elements we need from our blog. In this case, we're gonna need the title, the category, and the date, and the image, and of course the image is an object, so we have to specify which props we need from an image. In this case, the public ID, the width, and the height. We could ignore specifying the deep properties of the image. In this case, our CMS will give us the whole object of the image, but we don't need the whole object, we only need these three properties. All right, great. For the default value, we're going to create some drafts data for our blog. Specify the type in here, so it's going to help us. Title, category, date, and the image we're going to keep it undefined. So let's do category as a default value, and here for the title, category or block title. Great. And for the date, we're going to specify a date object like this, and we're gonna convert it to string. Okay, great. We have to convert it to string because in our interface we specify the date as a string, so we have to translate the date to its string form. Now after we specify, I think I have a syntax problem. Okay, I fixed it. So we're gonna duplicate this item 2 times. So we're gonna do the new array method, 2 items, and we're gonna fill it with the same object. Okay, great. Now we're gonna specify the JSX component. We're going to import the C function, and we're going to import our properties from our interface as always. Great. Now we're gonna return our JSX code. So let's go to our templates and copy the HTML version of the blocks and convert it to JSX. Okay, great. Very simple. Specify the address of the roots as always. Let's replace the title value. Specify its address. And now we have to render a list of blocks. So the first thing we're going to do, we're gonna look for the roots of the list. I think it's this row element. So let's give it the address of the list. And we're going to render our list as always. We're gonna get the first item, and we're gonna remove the other one. Great. Let's structure our JSX. Great. Okay, so let's specify the index and the address. So when we're using malloc, we only need to mention the address in the root of the malloc, but inside we're not going to specify any addresses, because to make you understand, we basically need one address. As you see in this portfolio, I don't need the address of these things. I only need the address of the whole element. So let's replace the static values. So block dot title without specifying the index, and here I want to format my date to be in this form. In this case, I can use the help of ChatGPT. So we're gonna ask it to write a function that formats the date in this form. We're gonna give it an example using JavaScript. So basically ChatGPT will write the function for us. We don't need to overload ourselves with these basic implementations. So basically you can use LLM's model. So we have a problem, I think. Let me check here. Numeric. So the AI sometimes make some errors, so I don't know what the problem is, but okay, something like this. So this function basically would take a date string, which is the case we have in here, and it's going to convert it to this form. Let me show you this form. So we're going to use that function, which is called format date, and we're going to give it as argument block.title. Great. And here we have the category, block.category, and I think we finished. We only need to replace this image as always. So here we're gonna see if we have an image, I think like this, and if we don't have an image, no, here if we don't have an image, and here if we have an image, we're gonna use the media comp as always. And for the width of this image, I think 600 will be enough, or yeah, 600 will be enough. Great. Now let's export our component for testing. Let's declare it in our configuration file. Now let's test it. So I think we have a problem, invalid time value for the format function. So basically this argument, it's telling us that that is not a number. So let's see why. Alright, here's the problem. I specified the title for the format date function. So when it's converted to a date, it's going to give us invalid date, so this function will not work. So let's specify the date in here and see if it's working. Yeah, now it's working. And now if I do a double click, I can specify a block for my CMS and append it. Great, beautiful. So let's do the same, or let's add a new block in our CMS. Let's call it test true for the link, or we could do something in here. If I go back to my Bleak template and copy the title and put it in here, and I clicked on this button, the CMS will create a slug depending on this link. So it's going to be a readable link, and it's going to be more optimized for the SEO. So it's better to generate slugs depending on your title. So for the category, let's call it nature, and for the date, we do a random date and a random image. Save, publish. Go back to our page builder, specify the second block. Great. Now we can duplicate them. We can have multiple blocks items, as you see, and this is great. So yeah, in this case we didn't respected the right size for a blog image, but it's not a problem because we are in a development environment. But in production environments, you have to specify the right size of images to get the best for your website, so it looks good. So now we could save and publish, and if we click on this button, we can see a preview of our page. As you see, served from the localhost 2002. So here's our blog, but there is a problem. So what I need in here, so when I click on a blog, I want it to send me to the blog page, which is the page that is created. This problem is still happening, I don't know why. Okay, now it's fixed. So I need my website when I click on this blog item to get me to the page of the blog. All right, so for example, for this blog, the graphic design blog, so it has a page, and this is the page that it has. It's an empty page, as you see, and this is the home page. So I want, when I click on this blog, I want it, or this blog in this case, yeah, this blog, to get me to its associated page. But first, let's fill this page with some components so we can recognize it. Let's add header and about, and let's call it graphic design blog. Okay, just to recognize it. Great. Now if I go back to this blog and refresh the page, I'm going to see the new components I added. All right, I think we have a problem in here. I don't know. Yeah, I think I know the problem, why this image is not appearing. All right, if I go back to my header component, in this case, yes, we have this placeholder is not starting with a slash, and as I told you before, when your SRCs are not starting with a slash, they are not going to work in pages different than the blog, than the home page. So as you see now, the image is visible. So now, as I told you, I want, when I click on this blog item, to get me to this to its page blog. So going back to our blocks, I think we have an E element. This is the E element, so basically it's appended to this title. So I want, when I click on the title, to get me to this page. So we have to change this URL, and we have to obtain the URL of the blog. So to do that, I think we could do in our mal field, we can obtain another properties. So even we didn't declare this property in here, it's going to be appended, which is the pages property. It's managed by the CMS, and the pages property is basically an object, and this object contain a property called URL. So basically this URL will be the URL of the blog page. Okay, so in this case, our blog will not come only with this data, but it will be a pages property, and it have a URL which is a string. We need to declare it in here so the certificate will not give us some problems or some errors. So in this case, let's do blog dot page, not pages, sorry, page dot URL, and save. Now let's go back to our blocks and see. Yeah, so basically this page is already rendered, and it's not containing the data about this page URL because I specified it right now, so it doesn't have this data. So basically we need to render our page in order to make this component working. So let me refresh the page in here and save. As you see, it's given me a save, even I didn't edited anything, because I changed it, the properties obtained from the CMS, so it's asked me to save changes. So now if I go back to my home page and refresh, the page is working. And now if I open the developer console or developer tools and check this title and to see its URL, so I think we have invalid URL in here. Yeah, it's invalid URL. Maybe I was mistaken. I think we need the link property, all right, not the URL. So let's save that and go to our page builder and refresh the page and save it to see. Let's refresh the page in here. Let's go back to the title to see. Yeah, now I have the link, which is this link, blogs/title, in here. So basically now when I click on this component, it's going to get me to the blog page. as you see, which is the block that we edited from the page builder earlier from this page. Now there's a problem I want to talk about. So if you observe with me something in here, when I click on this link, the page will reload. As we know in Next.js, that must not be happen, because we're building a web application, a single page application. So we need to fix this problem, and basically we need to replace this A elements with the link from the Next.js. But if you remember, in this custom Visual Page Builder, we need to import another link, not from the Next.js, but from the components directory. As you see, from this directory, we have a custom link. So we have to import this link and save. And if I go back now and click on a block, the page will not be reloaded, but instead it's going to render in the same position, all right, in the same instance. It might be not performant because it took a lot of time to change the page, but this is the development environment, so it's going to be slow, but in the production mode it will be very fast. So now I think we have a good result. Now we can go to our CMS, create a new blog, call it whatever you want, generate a slug for it, specify category, the date of creation, and specify an image. Save it, publish it, go to the page builder, edit your blog as you want, fill the content. So let's fill just an about, call it this is my blog. So in the real world scenarios, the blog page will have some custom components. So in this case we don't have some custom components for the blog page, but we might have them. So let's save and publish, and now I can go back to my home page in the builder and add this created blog, save, publish, go to my home page. I'm gonna notice that my blog is created. I can click on it and it's going to get me to the page that I created for this blog. So this is basically how you create a model with dynamic pages. So it's very optimal solution to implement blogs or any dynamic page in your website. So let's see you have an e-commerce website. In this case, you will have a model of products, and each product will have its page. So in this case, you're gonna create a product model, and it's going to be a dynamic model like the blogs, because of this property of pages. All right, great. So now I think we finished with the blocks. So let's do the final component, which is the contact. So let's start implementing this contact. So before that, let's clean this mess. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to create the component. Interface, open, so we're going to call it the contact, not DSL. Okay, wait. The first thing, as always, the interface props. So basically I'm going to implement this component and I'm gonna back to you because it's very simple and I don't want to waste your time. Okay, so now after I implemented the component, it was very simple, but there's a thing I want to talk about in here, which is the implementing of the icons, as you see. So I think this is the first icons we implement in this template. So let me explain to you how we can implement them. So first thing we have to know that the icons in this template is provided by the font awesome. We can check that if we access the public folder, the CSS folder, we're gonna observe a font awesome CSS file, as you see, and it's the font awesome 5. So basically in the font awesome we define icons using their class names. So for each icon it has its unique class name, and to obtain these class names we can access the font's awesome documentation websites, and we're gonna get the list of their icons. So for example, if I want the Instagram icon, I can search for it. I only make sure that you specify the version 5, and now when I select the icon I can get its class name, which is this. Okay, so my idea was to represent icons as a list of strings. Okay, and each string will define the class of the icon, or represent the class of the icon. So as you see in my implementation, I have these icons list. I map them into this component, and each I element which representing an icon. So the I tag is the tag of using an icon, and for the class name we specify the value of the icon. Alright, so now when I access my Visual Page Builder and select an icon, I can see at the left side I have the classes. So let's add a new one, for example, and put the Instagram class. Let's copy it. Let's remove this stuff, and as you see I have the Instagram icon. So this is basically how you can use icons with the page builder. For the other things like the title, the huge title, the inputs, for the inputs for the form I grouped all the properties inside the form property. We have the first name, last name, email, subject, message. So basically we can change the placeholders, as you see, and also the button. I think I didn't mention the address of the button. Let me check. Yeah, let me do that very quickly. Great. So as you see here, I specified the address and the placeholder for each input. So now I think the button is working. Great. So now after we implemented this contact, we need to make it working. So when I say make it working, I mean that this form will need to be working and sending mails to the clients reaching our website. So in order to do that, we have to set up a mail server or SMTP server. So I'm not gonna cover that so in this tutorial. So basically, after you have your SMTP server set up, you can put its credentials in this file, in this environments file. After that, you can use your SMTP server. So basically, I'm not gonna implement that, but I'm gonna explain how you can achieve it. So the first thing we need to do is creating an API in our Next.js application. So basically, if you access the pages directory, the API, you're going to find a mail.ts file in your project. So this is a basic example of how you can implement a mailing service. So we exporting a handler. So and here we used this rate limiter. This rate limiter basically limits a client to send only 3 mails in each hour. So don't focus on it, just focus with me in the logic in here. So we have this handler. The first thing, we have the input, which is obtained from the request body, but we first validated the mail form. So we check if we have first name, last name, objective, email, phone, and message using some regular expressions and sample type checking. So if the input is not validated, this function will return null or false. So in this case, we're gonna return a 400 response. So this is basically the server side. All right, so when I say we're gonna return the 400 response status, that means we're gonna return an error response to our client telling him that your input is not valid. Okay, if the input is good, we're gonna try to use a transporter, which is a function imported from the utils folder, which is using the node mailer to send our mails using our SMTP server. So here in this function, you're gonna specify the email that we're gonna send. The first argument is the from argument, so basically specify this email coming from, and here we're gonna specify which address this email go to, and here's the subject and the body of the email. So basically we're gonna send an email to ourselves, and as you see here, this code right here refers to this property in the environment variables. Let me show you, which is the my receiver. Here puts your email that's gonna receive any client's mail, any client's submission of the formula. So the first email will be sent to you, and the second email is going to be sent to the client himself and telling him that we got your message and we're gonna contact you as soon as possible. And after that, you're gonna return a 200 status, which means that your request done in a good way. And if we had an error, unexpected error, so basically, for example, the SMTP server is not running, we're gonna return 500 status. So you can learn our search about it. But now we only gonna focus on the front end side. This is the back end side. So this is an API to send the mails. So after that, we're gonna try to connect to our API from this component. So basically, you're gonna validate our form and send the request from here to our mail. So it's basically Next.js stuff. So I'm not gonna cover that because I want this tutorial to be focused on the page builder, not using APIs and sending mails. So this is basically not related to the page builder, but related to Next.js, how you can use it to send mails. So great. Now we finished the contact component, and the next component I think will be the footer. It's very simple. I'm gonna implement it very quickly and I'm going back to you. So now after implementing this footer component, very simple. So I specify the copyrights, which is of type siloed, and basically make it replace the value using the generously set in HTML. So we all know how to do that. So yeah, I think we finished with the whole component. Now the whole component is editable using the page builder. We have no errors, we have nothing. I think we did a good job. So this template is editable, all of it. We don't have any errors, and it's very fast. So I think we're gonna stop. I think I'm very proud of the progress we made so far. So in the next video will be the last or the final part. We're gonna explore more things about the builder configuration file and learn more about it. We're gonna learn more about the templates folder, I think. We're gonna also explore or make a quick tutorial how to use the page builder in an efficient way, because I didn't explain a lot of things. And also we're gonna explore this settings panel, the page info and the theme. So basically the theme will give us the ability to change colors of our templates and customize it depending on our needs or personal choices. We're gonna explore this top bar. We're gonna also explore more about the page builder, the users and permissions. So it will be the final part. So see you later.